One week before our wedding, the doctor looked into my eyes, smiled and said, "Congratulations, your fiancée is pregnant." But I did not smile, because I had never touched her. Not once. Not in 6 months. In that moment, everything became clear. The late-night visits, the seductive dresses, the way she kept asking me to prove I loved her. She was not begging for love. She was setting a trap. And if not for my patience, I would have walked straight into it and regretted it for the rest of my life. I turned and looked at her. She looked down. That was the first answer. Before she even spoke, her face had already confessed. I asked, "Who is responsible?" She covered her face and cried. But she was not shocked by the pregnancy. She was shocked that it had been exposed. Just 1 week earlier, I was preparing to marry her. I had seen her parents, collected the marriage list, and accepted her child as part of my future. Now I was sitting in a hospital room beside a woman carrying another man's child while wearing my promise like nothing was wrong. The painful part was not only that she was pregnant. The painful part was that she knew. Every time I said, "Let us wait until marriage," she was not disappointed. She was afraid, because every time I refused her, the lie lost one more chance to survive. I asked again, "Who got you pregnant?" She cried harder. Then she said the name I never expected to hear. Her baby daddy. The same man she said had broken her trust and belonged to her past. For a moment I was not even angry. I was ashamed. Ashamed of how many times I had defended her. Ashamed of how many warnings I had called judgment. I was not competing with her past. I was being used to cover it. Before I met Adwoa, I was just a man trying to build a stable life. I had a small business, a place of my own, and a serious mind. I wanted one woman, one home, one future. So when I met her, I thought I had found someone I could build with. She was calm, soft-spoken, and gentle. When she told me she had a child, I did not judge her. She said her baby daddy had hurt her and all she wanted now was peace. And I believed her. Her son made everything more emotional. He was innocent. Slowly, I started caring for him. Not because he was mine, but because I thought he would become part of my home. That was what made the betrayal deeper. She did not only use my love for her. She used the softest place in my heart, her child. I thought I was entering her life as a blessing. I did not know I was being positioned as a cover. A cover for a mistake I did not make. A father for a child I did not create. A future for a secret she was already carrying. For 6 months, I never touched her. Not because I was not attracted to her. But I wanted to honor the process. First, she admired it. She would say, "You are different." But slowly, admiration turned into pressure. One evening, she asked, "Do you really love me?" I said, "Why would you ask that?" She said, "Because sometimes I don't feel like you want me." I told her, "I want you. That is why I want to marry you properly." After that, the questions became sharper. "Are you sure nothing is wrong? Are you sure you are a man?" That last question stayed with me, because it was not a question. It was a weapon. She was not asking because she doubted me. She was asking because she needed me to doubt myself. Each time I said, "Let us wait," her face looked worried. Now I understand. She was counting time, and I was counting days to the wedding, not knowing she was counting weeks of pregnancy. One night, she came to my place late. Too late. She said she missed me. She said she could not sleep. I believed her because when you love someone, you can mistake warning signs for romance. She sat close to me. Her dress was not accidental. I tried to talk about the wedding. She tried to move the conversation somewhere else. When I stood up, she laughed and said, "Why are you running from me?" I said, "I am not running. I just want us to wait." Her face changed. Then she said something I never forgot. "How can I marry a man when I don't even know how he is in bed?" That sentence disturbed me, not because I could not understand it, but because it did not feel like love. Felt like a deadline. I told her, "If that is the only thing you need to know before marrying me, then maybe you do not trust what we are building." She became upset. but I still did not touch her. That night, I thought I had hurt her feelings. I did not know I had delayed her plan. My self-control looked like rejection to her. But to my future, it was protection. When the relationship reached 6 months, I told my family about her. My elder sister asked, "Are you sure she has completely left the father of her child?" I said yes. My sister said, "Just be careful with unfinished ties." I heard her words, but I did not receive them, because when a man is dreaming of a wedding, warnings can sound like jealousy. I went to see Adwoa's parents. They welcomed me. When they brought the marriage list, I received it respectfully. I folded it neatly, took it home, and placed it on my table like a man placing his future before him. That night, I imagined the ceremony. Her dress, her son beside us, both families smiling. I imagined peace. But sometimes, what looks like peace from outside is only a secret waiting for the right moment to come out. 1 week before the wedding, a thought came to me. Felt like wisdom, a quiet warning. I told her, "Before the wedding, let us do general medical checkups." She paused. Only for a second, but I noticed it. That simple suggestion changed her face before she could hide it. It was the first time I saw fear before I saw an excuse. She asked, "What kind of checkup?" I said, "Normal one. Blood test, health screening, everything." She smiled, but the smile felt forced. From that day, her mood changed. She asked if the checkup was necessary. She said maybe I did not trust her. I told her, "It is not about distrust. It is about responsibility." The night before the checkup, she came to my place with food, but she barely touched her own plate. Her phone kept lighting up. Each time it did, she turned it face down. At the time, I thought she was avoiding distraction. Now I know she was hiding the person who already knew the truth. After eating, she held my hand and asked, "Are you sure you still want us to wait?" I said, "Yes." She looked at me and said, "What if tomorrow changes everything?" I said, "Tomorrow will not change what is right." She looked away. Now I know she was afraid tomorrow would expose what she had hidden. The next morning, we went to the hospital. She was quiet in the car. Her hands were cold. When the nurse called us, she walked slowly, as if every step was taking her closer to judgment. They took our samples. They ran the tests. Then we waited. I sat there thinking about marriage. She sat there staring at the floor. I was waiting for results. She was waiting for exposure. Then the doctor called us in. He looked at the file. He looked at her. Then he looked at me and smiled. "Congratulations. Your fiancée is pregnant." That sentence ended the wedding before it started. I did not shout. I only looked at her, and she looked down. The doctor stepped out. The room became silent. I asked again, "Adwoa, who got you pregnant?" She cried. I said, "I have never touched you, so tell me the truth." For a while she could not speak. Then finally, she said his name. Her baby daddy. For a moment, I felt as if the room had no air. I had defended her against that name. I had told myself he was in her past. But the door was never closed. She had only hidden the key. And somehow I had been standing outside that door holding a marriage list. I asked, "Why did you not tell me?" She said she was scared. I asked, "Scared of what?" She said, "Scared of losing you." I looked at her and said quietly, "No. You were scared of losing the wedding, because losing me would hurt, but losing the wedding would expose her." She said it was a mistake. I said, "A mistake does not explain why you kept coming to my room at night." She said nothing. I said, "A mistake does not explain why you kept pressuring me." Still nothing. I said, "A mistake does not explain why you wanted me to touch you before the wedding." She covered her face again, and that silence told me everything. She was not only hiding a pregnancy, she was trying to create confusion around it. She did not just betray my trust. She tried to borrow my name for another man's mistake. If I had slept with her even once, she would have had a story, a chance, a way to make me doubt myself. She fell to her knees and begged me not to leave. She said the baby daddy meant nothing. But I had heard enough. I walked out of the hospital. Outside, she grabbed my hand and said, "Please, forgive me." I asked, "If I had slept with you, would you have told me the truth?" She went silent. I asked again, "If the checkup had not exposed this, would you have married me with another man's child?" She cried, but she did not answer. And sometimes, silence is the most honest confession a person can give. I entered a taxi and left. When I got home, the first thing I saw was the marriage list. Yesterday, that list looked like my future. Now, it looked like a warning I had almost ignored. That evening, her family started calling. Some begged me to calm down. Some said I should not disgrace the family. Some said the wedding was too close. But nobody was asking me to forgive a mistake. They were asking me to marry the consequence of it. They called it forgiveness. But it felt like they were asking me to bury myself quietly. So I sent one message. The wedding is cancelled. The next morning, Adwoa came to my place. She knocked for a long time. I did not open. She cried and said the baby daddy meant nothing. That line hurt me differently. Because if he meant nothing, why did she return to him? If he meant nothing, why was she carrying his child? If he meant nothing, why did his mistake almost become my marriage? I stayed inside. Because I knew if I opened that door, my pity might start speaking louder than my wisdom. For days, my mind replayed everything. Every warning. Every late-night visit. Every question. Every time she made my patience look like rejection. And the more I remembered, the more I understood. She did not hate my patience because it hurt her. She hated it because it protected me. Before then, I thought patience only meant waiting. Now I know sometimes patience is protection. If I had failed once, I would have needed proof to escape a lie. But because I waited, the truth had no place to hide. I moved on. Not quickly, but honestly. One day, I looked back and realized I did not lose a wife. I escaped a lie. I did not lose love. I escaped deception wearing the face of love. I did not walk away because she had a child. I loved that child. I did not walk away because she had a past. Everybody has one. I walked away because she tried to bring her past into my future and make me pay for it. That day in the hospital broke me, but it also saved me. Because sometimes, the heartbreak you cry over today is the mercy you will thank God for tomorrow. And I will never forget the doctor's smile. Because he thought he was announcing joy. But he was actually exposing the trap that almost became my marriage.